Reality TV, is it the key to breaking into the media? Or does being plunged into the public eye do more harm than good? On this week's episode of Money Unfiltered, we speak to reality TV star turned Sky Sports presenter James Green.
Of the thousands of applicants on reality TV, very few actually make it onto the programme, and very few people make it into the highly competitive sports media industry. Our guest today, James, did both.
From how Shipwrecked changed his career to going back to university at the age of 31, we look at James's unconventional path to landing the highly coveted spot of Sky Sports presenter.
Investing is just one way that you could take care of your future finances by giving your money more potential to grow.
With Wealthify, you can start investing with as little or as much as you'd like.
And luckily for you, Wealthify is offering all Money Unfiltered listeners the chance to get an extra £50 boost to your investment pot.
You can pick a risk level that's right for you and know how much you're paying for your investments to be looked after by their team of experts, thanks to their clear and affordable fees.
So if you've been thinking about starting to invest and you've been putting it off, then now could be the perfect time to make the leap.
So what do you need to do? Simply open a Wealthify plan and invest £50. Then, after 12 months of the money being invested, Wealthify will add another £50 to your plan. How great is that? Now for the legal bit. T's and C's obviously apply, and this offer is open to new Wealthify customers only.
It will only be available to the first 500 qualifying customers. And you'll also need to claim the offer via the dedicated landing page and pay £50 into your plan by the 31st of December 2022.
Head to the show notes for the link to claim this offer and read the full T's and C's, or head to wealthify.com/Money Unfiltered.
And remember, with all investing, your capital is at risk and you could get back less money than you put in. Wealthify is also authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
James, it is fabulous to have you. When I met you a few weeks ago and you told me a little bit about your crazy, amazing career, I knew we had to get you in on the podcast to talk all about what your journey's been like, because it's pretty unconventional. Yeah, I think being in the media is actually one of those things where a lot of people think it's about who you know, or you've got to just have the right in. But as we know, for other people, it's notoriously difficult to get into. But before we kind of talk about that, I want to go right back to what I think is the beginning of your career. And I'm not sure, and you can put me right, but where I really wanted to start, I know you were age 22, and on Shipwrecked, we have done some digging on you. Don't you worry.
You won't be able to find the videos, though. That's the most important thing.
Why is that?
Because it was before YouTube ever really existed.
Oh my God.
I realised that I probably watched you on Shipwrecked, although I can't quite. It was a long time ago, wasn't it?
It was a long time ago.
Sorry
about
to make
16,
you feel old.
17 years ago.
Yeah, but I was a fan of Shipwrecked, so I probably was.
Who wasn't? I mean, it was the greatest reality show of all time.
We're a tiny bit younger than you.
Yeah, I know. I'm old. All right.
Yeah.
People listening are going, what's Shipwrecked? Never heard of that.
Yeah, I was quite unusual for watching it at the time. But anyway, I probably did watch you on Shipwrecked.
You probably shouldn't have been watching me.
Probably, yeah.
I probably shouldn't. That's probably true. Fortunately, there weren't too many rules in my house, so I could watch what I wanted. And I was watching the 22-year-old James Green, and I would love to know why and how did you go on the show in the first place?
He was a different guy. I thought very differently at 22 than I do at the age I'm at now, which is a little bit older. Do you know what? It's a funny story, actually. So I never wanted a media career. That wasn't an ambition of mine. I was one of them kids. I never knew what I wanted to do. Went to university, studied a sports degree. Didn't really give a crap about the degree.
Yeah.
Had a great time for 3 years. Left uni, thought, shit, I needed a job. Didn't know what to do. Got a full-time job in for a sports centre in East London, which was weird. It was like in the heart of East London. Now, I was a Essex boy, blonde highlights in my hair, really tanned. I looked so out of place. It was ridiculous. Anyway, and long story short, I was with an ex-girlfriend at the time. We watched the Shipwrecked before, the series before, and she went to me, do you know, you'd be brilliant on that show.
Wow.
Right? And I thought, hold on a minute, this is a show where you're on a desert island for about 3 or 4 months, no contact with home. You're encouraging me to go. I was about to marry her then.
Honestly, I agree, yeah.
I swear to God, I nearly dropped down to one knee and went, will you marry me? You are.
I was going to say the coolest chick ever.
The best chick ever. What I didn't realise was that this was her way of splitting up with me.
Okay.
True story, right? True story. So she helped me through my application. I applied. When I received an email saying I wasn't selected for like the first 5 or first 10 people that go straight out there at the start, she split up with me that day.
She was hoping that you were going to get a yes.
Just to split up with me, yeah. Because
that is brutal.
I didn't realise she was 2-timing me. There was actually another guy at the same time. So funny.
She needs to be on reality TV.
Yeah,
by the sounds of it.
Does. I don't know what she's like now. I'm sure she's lovely now. But yeah, and that's how it started. And,
oh my gosh,
it was amazing. I would never have applied if it wasn't for her telling me to apply.
No, but you weren't in the first few people that got called up.
No.
But then what happened?
Then what happened is, so she split up with me. About 2 days later, I think I'd eventually got a little bit of sleep because I think I went out on a classic guy breakup bender for a few days. Didn't sleep at home once, don't know where I was. Fun time. So got an email saying, we're still looking for people. Sign up to this little website. And the production team had actually created like a little social media website, right? Which was all new back then. Bear in mind, there was no Facebook, there's no Instagram, Twitter, anything like that. So they'd set up this new social media page. So you join up there and you got fans every time. So you went on there and you built your fan base.
Oh my God.
So very similar to social media now. And they selected people from the website to then go in and have an audition. And so I went on this site, was on there for a day, got a call. Can you come in for an audition? And the audition was like GCSE drama. You know, when you're in drama in school and you're having to like do all these little activities as groups and all that stuff. And it was really weird. And I remember I walked through to do like a bit to camera, and this producer, I felt so sorry for this poor guy, but this producer said to this guy who she was walking, hold on, actually you wait, I'm going to go with him. And she walked me through into this room, and I was thinking, why is she coming in with me? And she was like, look, we really love you. We think you're great. Let your personality come out. So I was like, okay, this is great. This is exciting. Did my video, came out. Oh, this poor lad again was getting pictures taken. So we literally, you go in, you do your 30 seconds, you come out, you get your pictures taken. Happened to be the same lad in front. The photographer took 2 pictures of him, right? And then this producer again went, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's enough. Right, take a lot of this one. And I'm like, I'm thinking, feeling great, but feeling really bad. This poor guy, he must fucking hate me.
Oh my goodness.
He must have me on dartboard all over his house. He must hate me. And that was it. And I, literally had another interview, I think 2 days later. And before I know it, I was given my rucksack, and it was like, shit, your life could change. And it did.
How did you feel before you went in? Did you know that it could be a life-changing thing? Did you have an idea of what you were signing yourself up for?
No, not at all. I mean, well, I knew what I was signing myself up for. You know, desert island.
You'd watched it, I guess.
Years
You'd
old.
watched it.
There was girls in bikinis.
Yeah.
I mean, this was fucking paradise.
Yeah.
Literally perfect.
Greatest show ever. I was there for 3 months. Brilliant.
What about the minor caveat that this was all going to be televised?
Yeah, that side of it. Yeah, I didn't grasp that at all. Because bear in mind, I knew nothing about TV world or anything like that.
Yeah.
Never been in TV, never wanted to. It wasn't anything. I didn't want to be famous. That was never an ambition or an aim. And the TV side was, that took a while to get used to. It was really uncomfortable at the start.
And even then, this was, like you said, back before reality TV was what it is today. But do you think that some of the people that were going on it had got in their minds that they wanted to go on it because it was TV, they wanted the exposure, they wanted to be famous?
Definitely, yeah, 100%. There was a few that were. There wasn't a lot. It's very different to like Love Island nowadays, where you can actively go on that show because you know what's going to come from it.
Yeah.
And I don't blame anyone for going on that show because of the amount of money they can make.
Totally.
I mean, it's
completely.
To me, it's a bit of a no-brainer. If you think if you're a young person, if you can handle the pressures that social media brings, then
why
go
not?
for it. Go for it. You can make money. Whereas this was so pre all that.
Yeah,
it was very different. But there were some that did, and that was the only time I started to realise what could potentially come afterwards when people started talking about nightclub appearances. I was thinking,
nightclub appearances.
What the
Wow.
hell are they? until I experienced them afterwards. There was a few that were like that, but ironically enough, the few that were like that did nothing after the show. So maybe that was a sign. I don't know.
Well, this is the thing. So you went in for, a few months and you got to the final of Shipwrecked. You came out, you had been on TV for months at this point. People knew who you were. When you first got back to reality, did things change straight away, or did you go back to a normal job? Did you have your job to go back to?
Two things. The final, nobody got voted out. So, yeah, exactly. So you made it to the final if you survived.
Okay. Who didn't survive? People who walked.
Do you know what? I could have lied then and said, yeah, I won the race to the final. So that was one thing. The second thing was there was a Shipwreck of the Year vote, and I actually got to the final of Shipwreck of the Year. I'm not quite sure how, but I did. That was nice, but it is what it was. So when I got back, they had actually only showed one episode, and I wasn't in that episode. So they showed one episode, but ironically enough, that first episode got front page of tabloid newspaper coverage because there was some controversy around it at the time. So that was all new.
What was the controversy?
It was at the same time as Jay Goody was in Big Brother with the race.
Yeah, the racial scandal.
Yeah.
And this girl on Shipwreck was 18 and she had very old views from her grandparents, and the media made her out to be like the new Jay Goody.
Right.
So when we landed, there was like journalists waiting for us. We were snuck through this secret exit in Heathrow, which I never knew existed. I mean, that was kind of exciting actually. It was
Yeah.
crazy, what's going on? So it was crazy, but the good thing was I had time. I had time to settle into life, knowing that I wasn't on TV, and actually I was quite pleased about that. And then when it happened, then it was different. Being recognised on the street, having people coming up to you, people asking for autographs. I know people don't do that nowadays. It was like, I'm old, all right? I'm old. People didn't have camera phones back then. It's different, all right? Don't judge me.
You're not that old.
But those club appearances, did they materialise?
Great fun. Honestly, I had the time of my life. I loved it. Genuinely, I loved it. Like, some people hated them, but I just embraced what it was.
Yeah.
Knew I wasn't famous, and that was the key. I knew I wasn't anyone. I'd just been lucky, went on a reality show. I'm being paid to go to a nightclub to get pissed.
Just a young guy having a great time.
I was a young guy having a great time.
Yeah. And what were you doing for work at that time? Was this all kind of paid stuff and you were making a living doing that? Or?
Work? Do you know what? That was the biggest concern for most people after the show was,
what am I going to do?
what the hell are we going to do? Because it's the longevity of the show so long. I was there for 3 months. Some of the guys were on there for 5 months.
Gosh.
You quit your jobs and you take that gamble and you just kind of don't know what you're going to do. So because my island won the show, I won a bit of money. So that helped. The appearances helped. So that kept things ticking along. There was a panic. There was oh, crap, I'm going to have to get a normal job now. This sucks.
Yeah.
But I was prepared to do it. I was like, you know what? Live the 6-month little fame. That's fine. Enjoy it. Embrace it. It's a memory that I'll always have. And then go back and start a career off again. That was my mindset at the time.
And what did that look like? Did you want to be a presenter then, or did you have other ideas?
No, it didn't. My dad was raging when I told him I was going on a show. He was like, it's like, you fucking idiot. What's wrong with you? You've got a good career starting. What's wrong with you? Then when the show came out, he's like, oh, actually, it's all right. But now get a job now. And then while I'm like treading water, he's going like, you need to get a job. You need to go. I'm like, yeah, I will do. But I'm just going around the country for 2 weeks now, right? I'll be back. And at that point, we started to do some introduction for some X Factor contestants, right, who were part of the same agency we were with. So that was my first touch of presenting. And I really enjoyed it. I thought I was good at it as well. And that's not being big-headed. It was actually believing in myself.
Yeah.
And I actually thought, you know what? You're not too bad. The reaction from the crowd, you could tell when you're good and when you're not. Trust me, I've been on stage and I've been booed by crowds. I know when they don't like you and I know when they do like you. And that gave me my first buzz of it. So I thought, okay, this is cool. In the midst of that, I got signed to a model agency. That was new. Again, imagine telling your dad, I'm going to be a model. Oh, for fuck's sake, pack your bags, get out.
That
get
can't
out,
have
son,
gone
get
down
out.
well, no.
Again, he thought, what on earth are you doing?
Yeah.
Until I booked my first job and I tell him how much I got paid and he's like, oh, you can actually do well out of this. It was a different conversation when I gave him all the money I owed him back as well. So,
So how long did you model for, and did that become your main job for a while?
I haven't quit yet. I've aged, but no. Do you know, for 2 years solid, that was my main job. I was roofing in between that as well.
Really?
Wow.
So do you know, it's really funny. So I did a commercial out in Paris, right?
Yeah.
How glam does that sound, right?
It does.
Let me tell you.
Sounds very glamorous.
It does, but the commercial wasn't very glam. It was for Nintendo, so we don't worry about that.
Oh, well, it could have been worse.
You can cut that and put like, I don't know, Jean-Paul Gaultier in there or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's something sexy
great.
in there.
So I spent a week in Paris, and bear in mind, when you do a commercial, if you're the main person or the main actor in a commercial, people are running around after you. They put you in a really nice hotel. You're getting looked after, treated well. They pay you pretty well for commercials. So I do that for a week. The next day when I land, I get back, go to bed, wake up in the morning. I'm on a building site getting paid 50 quid
Oh my God.
for a whole day's work, absolutely knackered as well. But I would carry on doing that. And I did.
Why?
To keep me busy.
Yeah.
Because the modelling it's never regular, and it was never like, you know, every week there's something going on. So it was like, well, I need to do something. And I was like, why not?
I respect you for that.
I'm a
lot.
grafter, and I always have been. And
Really?
I'm a hustler, and I can't sit still. Days
Yeah.
at home for me are no good. I can have one day and that's enough.
Yeah.
Second day, I'm losing my shit going, what next, what next, what next? So I couldn't be that person who rested on my laurels and thought, oh, I've made it, I'm amazing. What like that? I have to go and graft.
And what happened? Why did you stop becoming a roofer and a model?
The modelling never really stopped. It's always been there.
Yeah.
It's always continued. It was never a love for modelling. I never loved doing it. I never loved the photo shoots. There's some people that love it. Fair play to them. I was never that person. It was a job. It was money. It was a presenting. It was always in the back of my head. And after about a couple of years, a friend of mine was doing some obscure casino show on like channel A63, right? True story. And the only people who watched most of the time were the ones who were trying to scroll up to the 900 channels. And got stuck on me. I mean, I feel sorry for them at that point. Goodness me, knowing what they were doing watching those shows. So I started working on this weird casino channel, and it was like my first foray into like TV presenting. It was live. I started like roaming around all these other websites looking for other presenting gigs. Did some very, very weird stuff. Very weird stuff at one time. Yeah, I remember one meat video, right? A meat video. So this meat company gets in touch, says, oh, I want you to do some videos for us. How much you pay 'em? Okay, I'll do it for that, no problem. God, I literally pimp myself out for any money, don't I? Anyway, so I turn up and we're in this like lovely farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. Great. They give me an apron. I was like, all right, okay, so
Oh
put it over
no.
the top. No, we just need you to wear just
The apron.
I was like, you what now? Here's the script. And I'm reading the script and I'm like, oh my God. So every innuendo about meat that you can think of.
Is that on YouTube? Can we find that and put it in the show notes?
I would say I think that is on YouTube.
Well, I will
I'm not gonna
do
tell
my
you where
best
to find it.
it.
Well, I thought at the time, I'll do it. No one will
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
And of course, all it takes is one person. Went everywhere. But it was all experience, right? Building an experience, building a new show reel to then put out and pimp me out for some more jobs and hoping that it would be a stepping stone to the next step. And it was. It just took quite a while. It took a long time. I had to be quite patient, which is it's not very easy.
No, it's not. But I mean, you clearly knew what you wanted to do at this point. You had an idea about presenting in your mind, but you then took the leap at 31 to go back to study again. So what was it that actually made you think, okay, I'm actually going to do this?
I'm glad you brought that up. Now I'm going to sound...
Now he's going to get
Now
some
I'm gonna sound
credibility.
better. Right, guys. I'm not that much of a moron, I promise. I think I was doing an ITV show, a roulette show, a casino show again. So, okay, sticking in the industry, but it was a bit better. And I was having conversation with people, and it was sport. I love my sport. I always have done.
Yeah.
And I probably about 5 or 6 months before I chose to go back and study, I managed to land a job hosting for the Cricket World Cup in 2015, I think it was. And I did like 38 episodes of this daily show. And it was amazing. The best opportunity that I've had. I thought that's my step. Things are going to come in. I had numerous meetings with big production team, big news channels afterwards, and nothing clicked and nothing went into place. And I was honestly, genuinely, I was devastated. I thought, what the fuck am I going to do?
Do you have any idea why?
No, because they don't give you that feedback. It's very difficult to get feedback. Now,
Yeah.
whether I wasn't experienced enough, perhaps,
Yeah.
maybe that was the case, and that's fine. But they don't give you any feedback, so it's really difficult. They promise you the world, a lot of them as well. I mean, one company is based in India. It's India's biggest sports channel. They were going to fly me out to do all sorts. I mean, it sounded like a dream. And anyway, so then I was like, right, what do I need to do? And I spoke to a friend of mine, and she said, I've heard that Sky Sports News will never touch anyone unless they've got a journalism degree. And I thought to myself, well, I haven't, so how can I change it? And I went and researched, what can I do? What is there out there? And there was an NCTJ, News and Sport Journalism, and it was a year part-time course. I did, I think it was a Tuesday night every Saturday. And bear in mind, I do like enjoying myself and going out. A Saturday, I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
But I did. I suck it up and went, you know what? This is it. This is what I want to do. This is going to help give me the credibility to take me away from these entertaining late night shows, these meat YouTube videos, pounding my meat and all that stuff. Trust me, it's part of the script. And that was it. And I threw myself into it, and I loved every bit of it. It's the best thing I could have done. And it's the one thing I give everybody advice that I speak to when they ask me. I say it's never too late to take a couple of steps back.
Yeah.
Build your experience up and then go again. And it was the best thing I could have done.
Did it make you feel a lot more confident then going and did you just kind of go and approach Sky Sports and all the big...
No, it didn't work that quickly, but yes, it gave me the confidence. It gave me self-belief. It gave me self-confidence. It told me that I could do it. Kind of got my brain into gear again. Presenting on a roulette show doesn't really need you. You don't need your brain too much. Modelling, trust me, you don't need your brain. You really don't. A day on a shoot, you can turn absolutely dumb as hell, and I say that in the nicest possible way to all friends of mine that do it as well, but they know the feeling, and you really do. When you're just a mannequin and you're not having to use your brain, it really dumbs you down, and it's, you need your brain to get active, and that gave me that motivation. It gave me the push to then go out and try and get things moving. I managed to start working with a football media company. That was a little bit of who I knew through someone else that got me the opportunity. It was Dugout, which was an interesting experience, being part of a startup that was incredibly aggressive, huge investment into it, owned by the biggest football clubs in the world. There was a lot going on, loads of jobs I undertook as well, so it wasn't presented. I was doing a little bit, but I wasn't doing much. I was mainly doing content-based work, and it was a great experience because I was learning a completely different side of the media world. I was also getting introduced to these massive clubs and how these football clubs work, and I'd never had that insight before. So it was an amazing learning curve, and it really set me up for where I am now working with Sky. It really did.
Yeah, I think what's so interesting there is the fact that you said that you weren't just doing that one thing, because I think so often people will look at where you are now, that you've got this kind of dream job to lots of people, and think, oh, well, you did the studying, you did that, and then you land the job and you never have to do anything else. And that is just so rarely, if ever, actually what's going on.
Yeah, it's the biggest mistake people can make is thinking they've got it, and thinking they're there, and thinking they made it, and thinking, right, that's it, I don't need to work.
Yeah.
For me, every step I've taken, I tell myself every time, the hard work starts now.
Yeah.
So every single stage of my life, I've always said that, and I always go by that. Always, it won't ever stop, and I know it won't stop. It won't stop until I stop working. You just can't. You just can't give up, and you can't stop. And if you think you've made it, well, trust me, there's hungry people who are younger, fresher, better looking now I've aged. I thought I was all right at one stage. No, but they're there. They're vultures. They're ready to take your job. And if you kind of rest on your laurels, that's the time they'll come and snap in. And what else am I going to do? Yeah, back on the roofs.
You said it there, but in all seriousness, it is a very competitive industry. Football is the most popular sport. It is what young boys dream of working in. If they can't be a footballer, they want to work in football in some respect, whether they're a mascot, whatever it is. They will sell an arm and a leg to do it. How do you get to that position where you have got that job when there are so many people fighting for it? Is it a case that you just have to keep working harder?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I applied for a job. So after I left Dugout, a friend of mine posted a job on Twitter, and he posts loads of media jobs. One of these jobs came up, Sky Sports News presenter. In this period of time, I had applied for, I would say, about 12 different jobs, content-based jobs, different jobs at Sky Sports News. And I did it and I forgot about it. And I didn't hear anything for 4.5 weeks. So I forgot. I genuinely had forgot, just thought.
Yeah.
And it was a late night call about 9 o'clock on a Friday night.
Wow.
From a number, and I was thinking, first of all, it was panic, because my girlfriend or fiance now was in the room. I was like, fucking hell, oh my God, who's that? Shit. Anyway, yeah, that was it. It was a call to invite me in for an interview, and I didn't get the job as a presenter, but they saw enough of me to give me a reporter opportunity, gave me an in-studio show that I was a part of for a month, and that was my in. It's not been easy, don't get me wrong. I mean, the pandemic hit about 3 months after I started. Sport stopped, so there was no need for freelancers.
Wow.
Nothing you can do about it.
No.
It's just how it is. You're at the wrong time. But I didn't stop pushing.
Yeah.
I'd survived maybe a year really struggling to get work with them. Got given another opportunity because I kept on banging on that door. I wouldn't give up, and I wouldn't stop letting them know I'm around, sending them ideas. And I got given last summer an opportunity with a new cricket tournament, and that started me off. And then all of a sudden, my freelance reporting really kicked on, and like this past year or so, I've probably been out and about 3 or 4 times a week with them, doing some amazing things. Yeah. Very fortunate, but I also feel like proud of myself for not giving up.
Yeah.
You know, not throwing in the towel.
That's what I was going to say, because I think it is what people could very easily look at you and be like, oh, he's so lucky, and he's got the blonde hair and the blue eyes, and he's so lucky, and he's just landed the job. But listening to you, that's clearly not the case. There's been so much work and so much kind of experience and knockbacks and pushing back that's gone into that. And I actually think, listening to you, it's just like anything really, isn't it? If you just don't give up. It almost seems like a bit of a test of resilience. Your job is such a dream to so many. You know, most people, after being knocked back 10 times, are going to give up, and it's that not giving up.
Do you know what? I wish I'd been knocked back 10
times. Yeah.
Honestly, I also wish I'd wrote down how many times I've been knocked back, how many rejections, how many CVs I've sent out, how many emails I've sent. You're talking about thousands of rejections.
Yeah.
That's not,
wow.
Over my lifetime, the amount of modelling jobs I went for and didn't get, money dangled in front of you where you don't get, and you have to pick yourself up off the floor. The jobs that you really want, presenting wise, that you get so close to and you don't get. Thousands and thousands of times I've been rejected. I'm not lying here.
Yeah.
That is what it's taken, and you have to pick yourself up. And a friend of mine told me once, when I was going through a little bit of a bad time, because it's hard. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough mentally at times. And he said, you know what impresses me? It's not how many times you get knocked down. It's the fact that you get up every single time. And it stuck in my head. And it's the best bit of advice I can give anybody. Don't worry about how many times you get knocked down. What matters is how many times you get back on your feet and you go again. And that character and courage that people show to fight adversity, fight those down days, to get themselves up and keep going. That's what matters in people. And it's so important.
Have you always been like that, or was that something that you developed? Because I think a lot of people may think, you know, actually that's all well and good. Like, how do you actually, though, get up when you have got that another rejection? Things really don't feel like they're ever going to go your way.
It's fucking hard.
Do you think it's part of it is wanting the end goal enough? Was it the motivation of the end goal? Is that part of it?
Yeah, definitely.
Or is it more just an internal?
A bit of both, really. I think from my side, what I've always used as a motivation is proving people wrong.
Yes.
And that sits with me quite a lot, and especially if there's people who maybe it's been a bit unpleasant at times, and you just get them in your head and you think, I'm going to prove you were completely wrong about me. I mean, for example, I can tell you now, I don't care. Dugout sold anyway, so it's fine. But there was an absolute vile guy who was like the head of human resources at Dugout.
Yeah.
One of the worst human beings I've ever unfortunately had to deal with in my time. And when I got made redundant, he took so much pleasure in it. And I was like, this ain't it. Like, I'm fuming. I was so angry.
Yeah.
And I had to sort myself out to be calmer with it, with my anger, and channel it right. And I channeled it by being on Sky. And my getting back at him was that Sky Sports News are in their offices, right? The TVs are in their offices every single day. I build great friendships with literally every single person in that office apart from him. So when I first went on Sky Sports News, January 2020, and I knew I was on camera, I think it was December actually I was on camera first, and I knew I was on camera, and I told all my mates, make sure you're watching. They all started sending me videos and pictures of them all watching it in the office, and I know that was my get, but that was it.
Yeah.
Everything was like, I was like, I've got it, thank you.
Yeah, you can just picture him being like...
Fuming because they're all making noise in the office. He would have shouted at them like little kids because that's what he was like. He would have been so angry.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. So, yeah, look, I think you build your rhino skin over time, so you have to take those knocks, and that does come over time. It's not something you can get straight away. I speak to so many young people who really struggle with those knockbacks and those rejections and struggle with being at the start. I don't know whether it's different now with younger people.
I think it is. I mean, there isn't a big age gap between us, but I do think each year sort of makes a difference. And I think the younger we are, the more... I mean, I know, I'm talking personally, I crumble at a rejection and I'm learning to get better at it, but still, like, I find it so tough. It's insane. I do think that the younger generation don't quite have that resilience.
But is that because they want things quicker? Or less patient? I don't know.
I don't know, or whether it's like the world that they're exposed to, whether they grow up differently. I mean,
is that like the instant gratification, right?
Yeah, like maybe they've just grown up in a world where things are much easier. I mean,
things come instantly, right?
Yeah.
Look, our, babies, toddlers, children, they're holding iPhones in their hand. Even when we were like teenagers, if you were lucky enough to have one of those amazing Nokia things, it was like, wow. And like,
played Snake.
They've got access to Google.
Amazon.
Yeah, these kids, like, imagine being 7 years old and being able to just go on Amazon and get like a new PlayStation game delivered to your door the next day.
Never worked like that.
No,
on your dad's credit card.
I think in some ways we had more space to be able to deal with rejection and to deal with criticism, whereas we didn't have social media where it is so instant. I guess the rejection, the criticism, the tearing you apart, the you look wrong, you're wearing the wrong things. Whereas I think for our generation, I guess we are the last generation that didn't have that really in teenage years, and thank God we didn't have it, because I don't know how I would have coped with it at all. But we had that space, so if someone said something nasty, you could go home and you wouldn't speak to anyone and no one would speak to you, and someone might say something to their mate about you, but you couldn't hear it, so you had time to deal with that mean comment. And so by the next day your mum had been like, it's okay,
it'll be all right,
it'll be fine, ignore the bad guys. Whereas now it's like...
Did your mum give you good advice? Because she gave you some terrible advice once. Do you know, I first got glasses. I've got contacts in now, but I first had glasses when I think I was like 12.
Yeah.
I might have been 12. And I remember wearing them in school, and my mum like said, I came home one day, I was really upset, and I was like, Mum, they kept on calling me Four Eyes. I hated it. And she went, you know what you need to do next time? I was like, what, Mum? What should I say? She went, tell them 4 eyes are better than 2. So guess what I did? I went to school the next day, and they called me 4 eyes. I went, well, 4 eyes are better than 2. What happened then? Bloody, the glass was smashed off my face.
No.
Like,
Classic.
What shit advice that was.
However bad that was,
It's unbelievable.
It can't be as bad as the experience you would have if you came out of Shipwrecked in today's world of social media. I mean, imagine, just thinking about what you were saying, like, imagine the barrage.
I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't have liked it. No. That's one side. That's one side that there's still a few people I still talk to from the show, and we talk about that, and that's one element I would have hated.
Yeah,
it was bad enough then when there was chat rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And although they weren't easily accessible, you still had this element of intrigue. Am I liked? Am I not liked?
Yeah.
And all this stuff. And they like me, they like me, they like me, they like me. Oh, one person doesn't. The world crumbles around. But to see it like it is now, it's horrific.
Yeah.
It's horrific. It's I don't envy anybody who goes on those shows to have to deal with that. I don't envy any young people out there who have to deal with how many likes they get on a post. If they don't get as many likes, are they less popular? It's horrible.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's horrible. And I hope at some point something gets done about it. But whether it will, I don't know. But I worry for kids growing up. I really do. It's scary.
In some ways, I think you got in and out of reality at the peak time.
100%. 100%. I don't need my followers. Don't worry. It's okay.
Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on. We could absolutely speak to you for ages, but sadly, we are out of time. I would normally ask people where they can find you, but they need look no further than switching on Sky Sports, and they will find you there, unless there's anywhere else that people can follow you if they like what you see, particularly younger people who kind of want to get some advice on carving out their own career in sports media.
Yeah, absolutely. I am on Sky Sports News from time to time. I pop up. I was outside West Ham getting rained on yesterday, so that was less fun. But you can find me on social media at James Green in UK. And I say in UK because somebody bloody set up a fake profile. Second one in 3 weeks. I've got more followers than me as well. My fake profile's got more followers. What does that say?
Well, it shows you're getting popular, though, if people are making fake profiles.
Someone said that to me, and I really thought that. I thought, great.
Yeah.
I've made it. But yes, get in contact. Anybody who wants to, any help, advice, I always make sure I message people back.
Yeah. So, James Green in UK.
Yeah, because I'm in the UK. Clever, isn't it?